On April 3, 1970, I had me free day. Suddenly an inner voice told me, "See a doctor today." Immediately, I asked, "Why I have no pain?" Today immediately came the answer. In 3 practices I was declined because I had no appointment. In the 4th one, a private practice, I was declined also because of the missing appointment. With tears I politely asked to tell the lady doctor that I absolutely wanted to have a checkup today. She went and came back with the reply that I should take a seat in the waiting room, which was full with pregnant women. I was called quickly and followed the nurse in the office, where the doctor asked me, "Why did you insist to be checked today?" I hardly could tell her that an inner voice had been prompting me to this. As she was looking into me inside, she eagerly called the nurse and said to her, "Look here, look very well." After this I also wanted to know what specifically was to be seen there, but she kept quiet about it and transferred me urgently in a hospital. There many tests were performed of what I was not prepared to with this little ailment. 3 days later a small surgery was required, where the nurse was injecting an anesthetic and said, "Soon you will be sleeping." But I didn't sleep, so that they had to give me ether. But the smell of ether was so abject that I didn't want to breathe it, that I wanted to get my head away from the mask until After 3 or 4 weeks the results were significant, when the professor calmly and serenely told me, "Do you still want children?" "No," I say, "one is enough." "Then I'm telling you, you have a cancer. Your mouth of uterus rose like a satin's mushroom." "I don't believe this, sir. I'm still much too young. Disease does to stop in front of any age," he answered. Suddenly it was as if a cement block was crashing down on me, pounding me to the ground, and I said, "I have a small child. What will happen to her? When it will be dying, sir?" I had been shattered, and blamed him if I was dying. "If you accept what I propose to you, you will see your child again." He said, "But, sir, I have no pain at all, except during sex. And when I am pushing, I am losing a bit of light blood." "If you were having pain, it would be too late for you," he said softly. What? If I had not been listening to my inner voice, I would have been too late. This was reverberating in me. Before the big surgery I got the usual drugs, but I didn't start sleeping, so that the professor in the surgery room asked, "Why is that woman not sleeping?" "But she will be soon," said a nurse. The hands of the big station clock showed 7:10, and the sun was shining in the room. During the operation I woke up with unbearable pain. It was so heavy, as if 10 sharp knives were cutting again and again in me belly. My arms were fixed to a frame with leather straps and buckles, and I was able to tear my left arm from the fixation and touch the cutting spot on me body. The professor standing in front of me said, "I'm not yet ready, this hand, take it away." Then the anesthetist drove tubes down my throat, so that I was near vomiting. Suddenly I was lying in the lap of a young man, and he said, "Have no fear, you are safe here." I had no pain anymore and no fear. It was very silent around us, until from the left side small ribbons with an open mouth passed by, where one mouth turned towards me and smiled as if it would know me. When the young man and I were alone again, the sun was shining from the right side, otherwise it was dark around us. Then I wanted to know who the young man was. When I turned my head up, I saw he had dark hair, but I couldn't recognize his face. It was smashed, rather like a mummy. My arms were lying on his naked legs, looking young with few hair. Here in his lap I felt wonderful, happy and content. I decided to stay there. But suddenly I was looking, from diagonally above, down into a room with white light, where a man dressed in white clothes with a black headgear was heavily hitting a person's face, so that the hair of the person being beaten was falling back and forth, and there I recognized myself as the person in bed being beaten. And I thought, do I exist in double once in bed, and a second time in the lap of the young man. Again and again the man was hitting me face and was calling, "Wake up, Mrs. E. Wake up, come back." I heard him calling, but couldn't answer. "Come back." "Go on, Mrs. E. Come back," and continued hitting me face. This continued some time. But I felt so well in the lap of the young man and was so happy. Harmony, the silence, were what I always had been looking for and now finally got. I am staying here. It is here that I belong. And I continued hearing calling me name, and the man was still hitting me face. Then the young man, in whose lap I was laying, said very softly, "Go," and with the next hits and calls of the white-clad man I said, "Yes, she is there, she is back," a relieved man's voice shouted. After 3 days I woke up with unbearable pain, and when I slightly opened my eyes and saw where I was, I closed them quickly again and asked myself, where is the young man in whose lap I was? I don't want to stay here. I don't belong here. And the nurse gave me a shot and said, "This is the last shot against the pain." "Why, sister, you got morphine and should not get used to." When I said, "Why, sister, my whole jaw was hurting." "Sister, me whole jaw is hurting, but they didn't do anything to it for you to have pain there. Maybe you got to thatch." "No, the whole jaw hurts." But she could to know that I got such heavy beating to the face by a man, and me jaw was still causing problems for decades. When I was prompted to stand up, with the help of a nurse, I fell to the ground. The circulation could keep up. Later they removed the staples on me belly and the place that I had touched with me hand during surgery. When that staple was removed, a fountain of secretion was pouring that the doctor could to stop easily, and it remained for a year before it healed completely. After a radio of the kidneys I got high fever, above 105 degrees. I fantasized and was apathetic. The doctors couldn't explain where the high fever came from until they found out about the contrast agent for the kidney radio. Till midnight for every hour I got a shot against the fever. 3 weeks later, the white-clad man with the black headgear came in the room in order to prepare a patient for an operation, and there I recognized the man who had been beating me face. I asked him, "Doctor, is this true, what I experienced during me operation?" "Yes," he said, and added, "If you want to complain, then please do it with me, boss." It's not about complaining, but I thank you for your honesty. The cobalt rays, I called them Saturn's rays, as they were much harder to endure as what I had experienced until then. No food remained, and my bowel was on diarrhea. I didn't eat any more and only wanted to be with the young men. One day I thought very much about me child, and she asked, "Mommy, when are you coming home? I need you." As of this day things were looking up, and I wished that for her 4th birthday I could be with her. I made it and went along with me child to school and further on until today.